For decades, the Telecaster has been considered one of the most versatile and influential guitars of all time. There's a good reason for that, because it is. From its country roots to modern metal, and all genres in between, the Telecaster has done it all and has proven that it can stand the test of time. Hi, I'm Joey, and today I will be doing a long-term review of my Fender American Professional 2 Telecaster Deluxe. I bought this guitar with my own money about a year and a half ago from Sweetwater, with the intent of it becoming one of my two primary gigging guitars. But before we get too much farther into my talking points, let me run you through a key specs on this guitar. It has your standard Fender 25.5-inch scale length, 70s style large Stratocaster headstock, Fender branded non-locking tuners, bone nut, 22 narrow tall frets, deep C shaped neck profile, 9.5-inch fingerboard radius, maple or rosewood fingerboard, and that depends on the body color that you end up choosing. Neck has a satin finish on the back, and your maple is going to have a more glossy finish on the front. Rolled fingerboard edges, two VMod 2 double tap humbuckers with Alnico 5 bar magnets, 7.3 ohms in the neck and 8.2 ohms in the bridge, 500K pots with push-push tone knobs for single coil like tones, treble bleed circuit for each pickup, 3-way toggle switch, and a brass 3-saddle compensated through body bridge. This Telecaster Deluxe comes in 6 different color options: 3-color Sunburst, Mercury, Dark Night, Olympic White, Mystic Surf Green, and Miami Blue, which is the one that I bought. All of this comes in at an MSRP of $1,899.99 US. Like I mentioned, I bought this guitar about a year and a half ago with the intent of it becoming one of my two primary gigging guitars. I play guitar for the band Uncle Drew and the Scoundrels, an Americana band with touches of rock and indie kind of scattered in there as well. However, my personal music influences primarily are that of bands like All Time Low, Blink-182, All American Rejects, Linkin Park, Foo Fighters, Driveways, Angels and Airwaves, Mumford & Sons, and other various pop, country, and other musical acts across all genres. All that to say, my music taste and playing is pretty eclectic, so I wanted a guitar that I can cover a wide range of styles and sounds with. This was purchased to replace my Chris Shiflett Telecaster Deluxe in my gigging lineup, as I wanted that guitar to be my dedicated drop C and C sharp tuned guitar for more heavier styles of music. My other primary gigging guitar is my Partscaster Telecaster, which I have dubbed my Telebird. It has a Warmoth neck and Fralin Firebird pickups, but that's a discussion for another day. I've become a huge fan of Telecasters over the last few years, specifically the Tele Deluxe style of Teles. Growing up, I was always kind of a Gibson guitar leaning person. You know, your Les Pauls, your 335s, your Firebirds, you name it, I've been a fan. I've actually owned each of those previously 3 mentioned guitars in the past at one point or another, and they've all been great, played good, and sounded great. But there was always one key factor that ultimately led me to selling each and every one of them, and that was the fear of something happening to the neck, whether it was a headstock break, a neck snap, what have you, and then having to deal with either costly repairs to fix it or having to replace the entire instrument outright, which is also not cheap. To me, the Telecaster Deluxe is a perfect balance between what I love about Gibson-style instruments and how they sound, with the ease of replacing parts that comes with your Fender-style instruments. The perfect blending of what makes each brand of instrument great. All playing demos today will be me using Helix Native through Reaper, with no other post-processing or editing going on, so the sound that you're hearing is the sound that this guitar is making. There's no other studio effects, EQ, compression, whatever going on outside of what's going on in Helix. Before I get into my list of pros and cons for this guitar, let me run through a few points that I want to highlight. This Tele Deluxe is equipped with humbuckers. However, they are not wide range humbuckers that are traditionally associated with the Tele Deluxe. These are the same size as normal humbuckers, not wide range humbuckers. So if you wanted to swap in a set of wide range humbuckers, you may need to do some body cavity routing as well as a new pickguard. Hey, post-production Joey from the future here. I did do a quick search to look up the wide range humbucker routing question, and in fact they do not fit traditional wide range humbuckers by default. So unfortunately, if you do want to swap those in, you will have to route out the body cavity in order to get them to fit properly. Anyways, back to the video. If you were looking for a Tele Deluxe with wide range humbuckers from the factory, you could look at the Ventera 2 Tele Deluxe, which comes in at $1,239. Or if you want an American made Fender with those pickups stock from the factory, you'll need to step up to the American Vintage 2 1975 Telecaster Deluxe, which comes in at a whopping $2,620. Before I decided on this guitar, I was actually going back and forth between this and the Ventera 2 Tele Deluxe. Ultimately, it was the fixed bridge on this Professional 2 that ended up being the deciding factor for me. I know I could have added some more springs to that Ventera 2 and just not used the tremolo, but it was just an extra thing that I didn't really want to have to deal with or worry about when it came to tuning stability and reliability. While on the topic of pickups, the American Professional 2 Telecaster has the ability to coil tap both pickups via push-push on the tone knobs, to give you a little bit more of a single coil style sound. While this isn't something that I generally use, I can appreciate it being present for those that do use it. There is a slight drop in volume when coil tapping, but usually that's something that's pretty common for most coil tapped humbuckers, so not really a knock specifically against this guitar itself. The M Pro 2 Tele Deluxe also isn't too heavy of a guitar. Mine weighs in at about 8 pounds, so pretty comfortable to play during a multi-hour gig, especially if there's not a lot of guitar changing going on. One final point that I do want to touch on is the neck. I have pretty small, average sized hands, and this neck's pretty comfortable for me to play and it fits in my hand pretty well. Like I mentioned before, this is a deep C profile neck. When it comes to C-shaped necks that I've played, it's on the thicker side. Both my Chris Shiflett Tele Deluxe and my Telebird both have C-shaped necks as well, but this feels ever so slightly thicker than my Chris Shiflett Tele Deluxe, which that is slightly thicker than my Warmoth neck on my Telebird, which is their standard thin C-shape. It's not quite as thick as the slim tapered D-shaped neck on my Epiphone Tom DeLonge ES333, so it falls somewhere in between that and my Chris Shiflett Tele. Before we move on to my personal pros and cons of the American Professional 2 Tele Deluxe, if you've made it this far, please consider liking and subscribing. This is my first time doing any sort of gear review, but I post shorts weekly, so if you want to know anytime that I upload either a short or another full video, hitting that subscribe button is the best way to know when I upload. You can also find me on Instagram, which is linked down below, as well as links to Uncle Drew and the Scoundrels socials and music. Now let's start with the pros. Like I mentioned before, the neck has a nice satin and rolled feeling on it, and it's very, very nice to play. I think this is the first guitar I've played that has rolled fingerboard edges from the factory. It's a subtle thing, but it's definitely noticeable, and it really makes this a very comfortable and very fast neck to play up and down. The contoured heel joint is also super nice. Don't know if I mentioned that it had that earlier or not, but it makes getting up to these higher frets so much more comfortable. Like your, typical Tele and Strats and stuff where it's a pretty hard corner if you're trying to get to these higher frets, this contoured heel joint is just so nice. It's way less strain on your hands if you're playing a lot of higher notes. These color choices also really pop, especially this Miami blue with the black pickguard and the white control knobs. Just, it looks so nice. I will say I don't know if Fender's making this guitar in this color anymore. The last couple weeks as I've been kind of prepping this video, I've been looking on their website to get information, and it's been showing out of stock the whole time. So whether it comes back or not, I'm not sure. Obviously you can find it on Reverb, or maybe a local music store might still have one, but just something to keep in mind regarding this color wave. Also, generally speaking, a huge fan of this oversized 70s headstock. It's probably my favorite headstock that Fender has ever made, and I think it makes most Fender instruments just look instantly better. Looking at you, Starcaster. Tuning has been pretty rock solid too. I run Ernie Ball 10 to 46 gauge strings on this. I believe from the factory it comes with 9 to 42s, and this guitar requires minimal adjustments during long shows. The presence of a treble bleed circuit is also much appreciated during live shows, just by, being able to roll back the volume a little bit to make slight adjustments to my gain without losing that clarity or high-end sparkle. It comes with a real nice hard shell case that has become my primary travel case. It's just very thick, very well padded, just very, very nice. Also, being that it is a Fender guitar, aftermarket support and parts will be plentiful, so that you can customize it to your heart's content. However, that sort of leads me into my list of cons. For me, the biggest con with the American Professional 2 Telecaster Deluxe has gotta be the pickups. Anything past low to even moderate amounts of gain, they tend to fall apart, where it feels like a constant fight to try and get good moderate gain or higher tones out of them. Fender are obviously known for their great clean tones, which I think is where this guitar is at its best, with maybe a little bit of crunch going on. From what I've read, these are an improvement over the original V-Mod pickups that you could find in the previous generation of the American Professional lineup, but I personally don't have any experience with those to draw a conclusion on. So if you're more into a clean or slightly crunchy tone, then this con may not be a problem for you. However, it has been my biggest gripe after using this guitar for over a year. At the time of writing this review, I actually have a set of Lindy Fralin modern PAFs on order to swap in, so let me know if you'd be curious for some before and after clips comparing the two in the future down in the comments. I also would have preferred to have 6 individual saddles here for setup and intonation versus the more traditional 3-style saddles that this guitar is equipped with. Being that this guitar is advertised as an evolution for the modern professional player, it just seemed like an unnecessarily traditional aspect that makes it harder to set up and intonate properly. It's definitely going to be one of my next upgrades after the pickup swap that I intend on doing to this guitar. I'll probably have to get a bridge with different screw pattern though, as I've been unable to find a 6-saddle bridge that has screw holes in the same spot as this one, which would obviously require new holes to be drilled into this guitar body. The final con that I want to bring up is the lack of locking tuners, especially at a near $2,000 price point. Again, going back to it being marketed for a modern professional player, not having locking tuners seems it would cause a little bit more headache for a professional musician with having to worry about the guitar going in and out of tune during a song or a show. I know I've had that happen in the past. It is not fun. My tuning has overall been pretty good and stable though without locking tuners, but it just still feels like an odd place to cut corners. So after over a year of living with and gigging this guitar, as well as using it on a few recordings, would I recommend this guitar? If you're not planning to make any aftermarket upgrades and you don't need a lot of moderate to high gain tones, then yes, absolutely. The pickups do clean to low gain very well. If you're looking for something with more moderate to higher gain, you may be able to make them work for you. It just hasn't been something that I've had much luck with trying to figure out. But if you're open to pickup swaps like I am, then this is a non-issue. I would still happily recommend this guitar to anyone looking for a more modern take on a Telecaster. It just feels really great to play. Even with my complaints about the pickups, I have still enjoyed playing this guitar over the last year, and I'm looking to continue to do so in the future. However, if you are looking for a more traditional Telecaster with wide range humbuckers, and not having a fixed bridge isn't a problem for you like it was for me, then maybe I would check on the Ventera 2 Telecaster Deluxe. I've never played those, but that would be kind of where I would start to look personally. But what do you guys think? Do you own or have you played one of these American Professional 2 Telecaster Deluxes? What's been your experience with them? Let me and others know down in the comment section. This is my first time doing any sort of product review, so please let me know of any feedback you might have to help me with any potential other reviews in the future. Alright, that's all I've got for y'all today. Thank you for checking out this video, and I hope y'all have a great rest of your day.